This is the Relationship Capital Podcast, where we talk to the top thought leaders and practitioners from around the world about how to grow your most valuable resource, your network. I'm your host, Adrian Chenault, and Relationship Capital is brought to you by your friends at Contact Mapping, the #1 app for building your network. Hey everybody, it's Adrian from Contact Mapping, and I have been looking forward to this conversation in a huge way. Please help me welcome the one and only Mr. Jordan Adler, Mr. Beach Money, and truly one of the most authentic, kind human beings I have ever met. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me. It's a true honor.
Thanks, Adrian. Great to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I love the way that you build relationships, not just with me, but with all kinds of people all over the world. I've watched you do it. I hear all these stories. I watch your social media and people just, they love you. And you can tell that they don't love you like fans. They love you like a friend because they feel like you have touched their life. And that's really what we're all about. And so I want to ask you the question kind of from that perspective of somebody who maybe is just getting started in network marketing, or maybe has been in there for a while, but just hasn't really gotten to the place that they're looking to get to. How can somebody like that use relationships and build relationships in the right way to help them create success in their business?
Absolutely. Thanks, Adrian. So a couple things. First of all, I read a book years ago called Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive by Harvey Mackay, one of my favorite books of all time. And in the book, he talks about the power of the Rolodex. He says that you can predict the future of someone's income by looking at the size of the Rolodex. I read that when I was in my early 30s, and I've been struggling in business for many years. And after reading that book, I realized that I needed to be better at meeting new people. I actually figured out that successful business people, they do three things. The first thing they do is they're intentionally meeting new people every day. And people that are the most successful in business and in life are people that are intentionally meeting new people. That's the first thing. The second thing that successful people do is they're connecting people. They're looking for opportunities to put great people together. So when you meet people that contribute significantly to your life and you feel like those people should meet each other, you need to introduce them to each other, because when you do that, you just step back and let those relationships, those connections that you've made do their magic. It actually elevates your value in the network when you do that. So I'm always looking for reasons to connect people together, and that's when the magic happens, when you're putting people together. And the third thing is appreciating more people. So looking for opportunities to sincerely appreciate, and there's lots of different ways you can do that. You can do that with phone calls. You can do that with cards and gifts. You can do that by, just creating experiences for people that are going to add value to their life. So those are the three things: intentionally meeting new people every day, intentionally connecting new people every day, and thirdly, appreciating people every day. Those three things can create an explosion in the success of your business.
That is so cool. And I don't know that I'd heard you share the connection to Harvey Mackay, who I am just a big, big fan of. And so that's neat to see the role that he and his work played in your journey. And so talk a little bit, because I think that people, they see you on the stage now. You're such a phenomenal storyteller. You're so polished. You've got it all together, at least from the outside today. And I know none of us ever have it truly all together. But you were in the network marketing business for a long time, having zero success before undergoing that transformation and going on this journey. And so I don't know if Harvey's book was part of that, but I'd love for you to talk about that transformation and how you put those light bulb moments into action in your own life as you started to have success building.
Yeah, I think that the transition that happened for me was a result of a couple of defining moments. But when I go back, I came to Arizona from Chicago back in the early 80s to practice my chosen profession, which was landscape architecture. But I was in my 20s and got a couple of jobs and found out that it really wasn't fulfilling for me after going to college for 4 years. I was able to work my way through college, but I had this entrepreneurial streak in me. I don't even know where it came from, because I really didn't have entrepreneurship so much in my family. But when I came to Arizona, I started answering classified ads and getting involved in different businesses. And over a course of 10 years, I listened to a lot of audio tapes. I went to a lot of seminars. I bought a lot of product. purchased a lot of training programs over the course of those years, and also got 7 different network marketing companies, never made a penny, never signed up a single person. But there were some defining moments, things that really changed everything for me. And one of them was I was sitting in a meeting. It was in San Francisco. I got invited to a meeting. I didn't have the money to go. And a couple that believed in me paid for my trip. And they flew me to San Francisco. I sat in the front row at an event. And this was the 12th company that I'd signed up in. And again, after having never made a penny in any of those other companies. And just to give you a sense of where I was, 34 years old, my rent was $200 a month. I was working for an airline at the time, and the airline had just filed bankruptcy and cut my pay down to $14,000 a year. And I didn't have a drivable car. I owned a Jeep that was broken down in the street for 2 years. So I was an adult living in a rental with roommates, and I actually had the enclosed garage. That was my room. So making $14,000 a year. And so I joined my 12th company, ended up in San Francisco. I got invited to a dinner where the top 5 distributors of that company were in the room, and we were having this dinner, and I was just listening to them, taking a few notes, but just listening. And I realized it was a defining moment, because I realized in that moment that they were no different than me. They had gone through the same struggles, and they didn't sound any smarter. I'm not super smart, but they didn't sound any smarter than me. I just listened to them, and they tapped into some things that, you know what it was? It was like in that moment I realized I can do it. And as soon as I realized I could do it, I went out and started doing it. And it was the first time I ever learned how to set up an appointment, first time I ever learned how to give a presentation, first time I ever learned how to sign up someone. And I started signing up about 1 person a month, and I did that for a few years. But here's the thing. It was like when I go back and really analyze what it was that allowed me to be successful, I studied, just basic, like how to win friends and influence people by Dale Carnegie. I just started applying that stuff, applying like treating people right. There's a book that I highly recommend called Skill with People by Les Gibbon, Gibon, I believe is how he spells his last name, Skill with People. And it's really foundational. It's really fundamental. But if you apply that, what's in that book, it's a very short book. Like when you meet somebody, do your very best to remember some important details about their life, things that are important to them. Document it in some way so you can go back to it. Have a contact manager. Have some type of a CRM. Now we keep, people's names and phone numbers in our phone, and we can keep notes in there, but contact mapping helps you do that. But have a place where you can put important details about them, and then look for opportunities to appreciate those people at least a few times a year if they're important to you. And what you're going to find out, and this is what I found out, is when you meet somebody and you stay in touch with them over a long period of time, and they know what you do, and you look for opportunities to add value to their life, if it's the right thing for them to be doing, they'll be joining you at some point. If it's the right thing for them to be doing. I found that most people need somewhere between 4 to 6 interactions with you before they'll actually do business with you. So if you meet somebody one time and show them your business, and then you never stay in touch with that person again, don't expect them to ever do business with you, because they're probably not going to. I never knew in my life that I was going to be needing a security alarm system. I mean, I probably met 25 security alarm system people in my life, but I couldn't tell you the name of one of them. But when I was ready, because somebody had broken into my home, when I was ready for a security alarm system, I couldn't think of the name of one person. So I went on the internet and found somebody. And for now, the past over 10 years now, they've been receiving a $70 a month check from me for the security monitoring. But if one guy had just stayed in touch with me, maybe once or twice a year, sent me a card or a quick text message or a phone call saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're doing great. Just remember, I'm your security alarm system guy. If you ever need one, I would have called that guy. So, and our business is the same way. The network marketing business is the same way. It's just, the people that do well in network marketing, they A, meet people, B, they stay in touch with those people, 3, they look for opportunities to add value to those people in some way. Sometimes it's just a matter of, like your dad, checking in, a quick phone call to just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hope you're doing great. Give me a call sometime. Let's get caught up. Just so that And so those are the kinds of things that you want to be doing on a regular basis. Harvey McKay taught me a lot when he talked about, but back then it was a spool where you put business cards in it. And then he talked about the importance of handwriting notes to those people periodically, staying in touch in a meaningful way. And those are the things that can really make a difference. I think the biggest thing that most salespeople, whether it be a network marketer or a salesperson, what they miss is the power of a thank you note. And they also miss the power of staying in touch over the long haul, making friends without an agenda.
Yep.
Making friends without an agenda. And the right people will come to you.
That's brilliant. And it sounds so simple, and yet so few do it. And I think that's the incredible thing. And what the other thing that's beautiful about it is it also, it sounds fun, like none of that stuff is like, oh, this is like painful or what. It's like, keep in touch with people, find people that you enjoy hanging out with and send them a note every once in a while and try to get together with them for a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever you want to do every once in a while, and just stay in touch. And it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Like, there's nothing wrong with funnels and all this kind of stuff, but you don't need to have that stuff. You can if you just can show up as an authentic human being, stay in touch, keep these relationships going, great those are going to happen in their life, in your life. You're going to do fun things together, and you're going to make a lot of money together eventually, because those are those simple little building blocks that allow you to build something that has a foundation, and that's not just here today, gone tomorrow.
And actually, Adrian, there are lots of business owners that have to do no marketing and no sales and no prospecting because they've created a referral machine. Remember, you can only pursue one person at a time, but you can attract an unlimited number of people. So when you treat people great and they think of you as the person that's the expert at what you do, then when they're ready, they'll contact you.
Yep.
So today, 99%, probably more than that, of my business, higher than 99% of the business that comes to me is 100% referral. 99% is 100% referral.
Right.
Meaning that I get contacted. I'll tell you why. I get contacted weekly by people that say, I'm ready to go. They don't need to be sold. They don't need to be shown anything. They just say, I'm ready to go, and that I want to sign up with you. How would you like to have a business like that? I don't care if you're in real estate or if you own a mortgage company or if you're in network marketing. How would you like to have a business where every week people are calling you saying, I want to sign up? The way you do that is you build a CRM, a contact management system. It's simple. You don't need to build it. They're already built for you. It's your phone or your contact mapping, which integrates with your contacts in your phone. And what you do is you get hundreds and then eventually thousands of people in there that look to you as the expert at what you do, and they think of you as the person that treats them great.
Yep.
It's really that simple. My friend Adrian, my friend Tom, my friend Jordan, my friend Sue. I'm going to contact Sue because I know Sue will treat me great because she's been my friend forever. And I know she sells real estate.
Exactly. And you end up becoming, like you said, you create these referral engines, right? Because they send somebody to you, you take great care of them, you show gratitude to the person who sent you that referral, and they go, man, well, I want to, that person ended up liking me better for having been introduced to Jordan. They thanked me, so I feel great. Like, what's not to like about this arrangement? And so then they just keep on coming in, right?
Absolutely. So let's say, for example, I introduced Sue. Over the course of the past 5 years, I've introduced Sue to 3 people that bought homes from her.
Yep.
Who's Sue? Who am I going to go? When Sue's ready to do business, is she going to come to me? Absolutely.
Yep.
Because I referred business to her. I added value to her life. So I'm constantly looking for who can I connect? Who can I put together that will allow that maybe they'll be able to do business with each other. Then I become the source of that. And when somebody's ready to do business with, my company, they're going to come to me.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So a little bit of a different tack in the conversation, but Jordan, one of the things that I have really noticed about you and that I admire about you, in part because I think I admire it about you because I see it in myself, but I think you are quite an exceptionally sensitive and empathetic person. And I think that's a real strength for you, but I would imagine at times in your life that it was also a challenge along the way before you learned to harness it. So if my assumption is correct about you, talk about that journey for you.
I don't know if I'm wired that way or if I learned it, but my mother was empathetic. My mother always taught us to think about it, what it's like to be the other person, before you judge.
Yeah.
And so I do my best to stop and really be present with people and ask myself, what does it feel like to be in their shoes? And then just by asking great questions, what's your story? I love that one. Richard Brooke posted a comment in the thread of the interview we just did with Tom earlier today. And, if you just ask that question, what's your story? And they'll usually say, what do you mean? And I'm like, everybody's got a story. Yeah. And you learn a lot. You learn a lot when you ask people that question. And then you have a basis for really acknowledging and appreciating someone for where they are. And they appreciate that when you appreciate them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. All right. Well, the last question, I just want to ask you a little bit of an open-ended question of, anything that you want to share with our audience here that's just near and dear to your heart about life, about business, about success, whatever you want to talk about. But, what would you like to leave our listeners and our viewers here with?
Wow. How heavy do you want me to get?
As heavy as you want, buddy.
So imagine for just a moment that the heart that is beating in your chest is the same heart that was beating in the chest of the 5-year-old that you used to be. And the lungs that you're breathing with are the same lungs that were breathing the air when you were 5, that have carried you all the way through life to where you are today. Now think back and think about 100 of you going backwards from whatever age you are all the way down to the age of 5 years old. So there's a 25-year-old, there's a 20-year-old, there's a 17-year-old that was you, there's a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old. Now imagine yourself sitting across from the person that you were when you were 5 years old, holding that child's hands, looking into that child's eyes. And ask yourself if what you say to yourself today, how that would land with the 5-year-old that you were. And if you think about that and you think about the role that you play in your life by what you say to yourself. What you say to yourself. Do you say to yourself, would you say to that 5-year-old, you're ugly? Would you say to that 5-year-old, you're stupid? Would you say to that 5-year-old, you're going to be so successful? You've got a bright future ahead of you. Does that 5-year-old in good hands with you as their leader? So that's just something to think about.
Wow. That's huge. And yeah, things I say to myself, I would never in a million years say to my 8, 6, or 3-year-old kid. Right.
Right.
And that's really good. Jordan, I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to do this with us. We love you, man. So thanks for everything and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Adrian. Thanks for having me on.